Welcome to the 8th video in our series of using Linux from your Windows system. In video number 7, we talked about how to move around or navigate in the different folders on your computer using the cd command. We also briefly touched on viewing environment variable values, and we talked a little bit about paths. How do you make a new folder? Since we don't have a file manager, we'll have to do this with a command, and the command is easy to remember. mk is for make, and we're going to make a directory, and then you give a name after that. So let's make a directory called Wednesday, and if we check with the long option so we can see the full information about Wednesday, you'll see it just says total 0. The reason why is because the ls command will go inside the directory and try to show you what's inside the directory, and since we just created it, the inside of the directory has no files or folders. It's empty, and so there's nothing in it. If you want to find out about the directory itself, you have to use -LA, and then that will actually tell you about the directory options. You can see they both start with D, and it has dot for the current directory, the directory you're in right now, and dot for the parent. But it doesn't show the name Wednesday, which is quite confusing. So let's do an ls -LA of everything, and then we'll use our scroll bar to find Wednesday. Oh, here it is at the top. Here is the information. It starts with a D, and it says the size is 4096 because that's the default size. It can be larger if you put a lot of information into a directory, but most of the time it will stay this size. And it tells you when we created it here, because we created it, that's the last access. Let's go inside that directory using the cd or change directory command, and we'll do an ls -LA again. And you can see we have the current directory, which has that size 4096, and we have the parent directory. If we do a pwd, we're in home John Wednesday, so if we went to that ... we'll be back in home John again. Once we're inside this directory, we can create new files. We could copy files here. Let's make a new file. So nano, and then we need to give the file name that we want to access. So we'll call it info text. And since it's a new file, it says so right here at the bottom to let you know. So cd is for change directory. pwd, print working directory. And then we also learned about ls, list files. We learned about ls -L, list files long format. We learned about ls -LA, which is list all files long format, including dot and dot. We learned that dot is the current working directory. Dot dot is the parent directory. We learned about mkdir, which is make a new directory or folder. If we can create one, of course, we'll have to learn how to remove one. But let's save this file with the Control X, and we'll say yes. And then it says, is that the name you want? And we say yes. And if we do an ls-l, you'll see now we have info text with 254 bytes of information. And it's a regular file. It starts with a minus, and it shows you that the user can read and write it, the group can read and write it, other people can only read it. That's not ideal. If we had some private information, we might want to set the permissions differently. We would say that the user can read and write it, and the group and the other people can't do anything, and we give the name of the file. And when we check again, you can see the permissions have been changed. We did this with the chmod command, or change mode. Okay, where are we? Anytime you forget, just use that pwd. Let's move info.txt into the parent directory, and that's how you do it. Move and then the name of the file, or you can list several, and then the destination folder, which is ... And when we look, our folder or our directory now just has itself and the parent. That's not very exciting. Let's go back to the parent directory, and let's remove this empty folder, this empty directory. How do we do that? We use rmdir for remove directory, and then you give the name of the directory you'd like to remove. We want to remove Wednesday. Like most Unix tools, if everything worked, there's no output. So let's do our ls-l and check. For Wednesday, you see we don't have it. We have web notes, we have wget. Wednesday's gone. What about the info? If we scroll back, we'll see that info text is here. Right here. It has that 254 bytes, and it has the permissions that we set. So when we moved it, it remembered the size and the permission. In a previous video, I told you for a short text file, you could use the cat program to see what's inside. Info text, there it is. When we look at this, we immediately notice that it lists the commands we used today. So that wraps up video number 8, and we have a nice summary on the screen. Missing only one thing, the remove dir. So I can go into nano, info text. I can add one more line here at the end. Remove dir, remove an existing directory. Save it. And if I cat again, now everything we did in today's video number 8 is shown in this info summary. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you'll come back next time for our video number 9. Thank you.